Hello everyone, guys, I'm Utkarsh and I welcome you all to this session on visualization and reporting. So guys, let's have a look at the agenda for this session. The agenda for this session includes exploring other Seaborn charts, and we shall also be, let's say, exporting reports and images as Excel, CSV and as images. So guys, so far in the previous sessions, we have discussed and explored, let's say, the different Matplotlib and Seaborn charts. We have also discussed chart customization and annotations. So guys, let's switch to the Jupyter screen. So guys, currently we are in the Jupyter screen. Over here, the first things first, we need to import pandas, numpy, matplotlib and seaborn, right? So pandas I'm importing for data pre-processing and cleansing. Numpy I'm importing for numerical computations. Matplotlib I'm importing for, let's say, visualization, and seaborn again for visualization, right? Matplotlib and seaborn I'm using for the visualization. So once I've imported this, next what can be done? I need to read the file. So the file that I'll be reading, this will be the file, right? Students performance pd dot read csv. This is going to be students performance dot csv, and then over here I'm having df dot head. This is students performance dot csv. Now, as discussed even in the previous sessions, because the column names are long, so I'll be shortening them. So df dot columns, over here I'm passing gender, then I'm having race, ethnicity, then parental level of education, then lunch, then test preparation course, then math score, then we have reading score, and then we have the writing score. All right, this is what we have. So now if I display df head, this is my data. If you look at the shape, so यहाँ पे हमारा shape कितना आ रहा है? We have 1000,8 means number of rows. The number of rows that we have is 1000 and the number of columns that I'm having is 8. Right, so guys, यहाँ तक implement हो गया है. So in the next step, let's say we shall be exploring other Seaborn charts. So the first chart that we are going to explore over here is the Wallen chart. So what is the purpose of Wallen chart? Wallen chart is a combination of box plot and KDE. KDE basically over here it represents the histogram, right? It represents the histogram as well on each side of the let's say the vertical line that carries Q1, Q2 and Q3. So this would be wrapped in a KDE plot as well, or I should just say box plot and KDE, right? So it is a combination of both. So box plot would represent the quartile distribution. KDE would let's say allow us to understand the frequency distribution as well. So for instance, I want to represent math score on a Wallen plot. So how can that be done? SNS dot Wallen plot, and in SNS dot Wallen plot over here I'll be writing data is equal to df and x is equal to math, and then plt dot title, over here I can mention math score, Wallen plot for math score. This is Wallen plot for the math score. All right, and then plt dot show. So now if I represent it like this, so guys, over here if we see this vertical this horizontal line that we get to see over here, this is the minimum value, this is the maximum value, this is the Q1, this is median, this white line is the median, this white dot or the white line is the median, and this is Q3. So Q1, Q2, Q3, the maximum and the minimum. So if it is extending towards the left, the tail is extending towards the left, means over here we do have outliers, and if the tail extends towards right, so that is just the convergence of the Wallen plot. So this is the box plot centrally aligned. Now on the top and on the bottom we do get to see symmetrical frequency distributions. So these frequency distributions, they do represent, let's say for instance, for math score we can say that majority of students have scored scores between maybe 57 to 80. All right, because this is where the data is centrally located, and at this point somewhere around 62, 63, majority students have scored this marks. So this is where we do get to see the mode. So this is how the Wallen plot looks like, and this is how we can generate it. So currently in the first problem statement we have represented math score on a Wallen plot. Now we do have a number of customizations available. Can we represent math score versus race ethnicity on a Wallen plot? Yes. So SNS dot Wallen plot, then over here I can mention data is equal to df, and on the x-axis I can pass math, and on the y-axis I can pass, okay, on the x-axis I'll be passing race ethnicity, on the y-axis I'll be passing math score and plt dot show. So what would be the title? The title would be race, ethnicity versus math score. All right, on Wallen plot. So this is simply going to be race, ethnicity versus the math score. So if you observe, for each of the race, ethnicity, we do get to see the math scores and the distribution. So clearly over here we can observe that for the group E, the median math score is high, and we can also observe that the range of values that we do get to see over here. So performance wise, group E performs better compared to group B, C, A and D, and after maybe group E, we can consider even group D to be at par. All right, now besides this, if I want to change the color, so maybe I can set this to orange. All right, so this is how the Wallen plot looks like. Next, can we represent math score versus race, ethnicity on a Wallen plot, but based on gender? This time based on gender. So we'll be writing the absolutely same code, but with a hue parameter. So I can simply copy this. Okay, this is done. This was without gender, right? इसमें हमने gender को use नहीं किया था. But next वाले में we'll have to utilize gender as well. Yeah, so this is the problem statement. इसमें we have to utilize the gender as well. So how to represent the gender as well? So I can simply copy this. We can paste it over here, and then let's say x is equal to red, color orange, and then hue may I can pass the gender. So Wallen plot race, ethnicity versus math score based on gender. So guys, now if you observe this, now coloring is not required, it will automatically choose the color. So if you observe this, for each group we do get to see two different Wallen plots, one for males and one for females. The blue one is representing the females, the orange one is representing the males. So guys, this is the Wallen plot. All right, next proceeding forward, we have the heat map. Heat map is used to represent tabular data, preferably square matrix form of data like correlation, let's say in different color combinations. So maybe for this particular data, I can compute the correlation. And what is correlation? Correlation is direction and magnitude of linear relationship between two variables. So how do I compute correlation? First of all, I need to figure the numerical value. So last three columns are numerical, right? Last three columns are numerical. So maybe over here I can mention df.ilog and colon minus 3 colon, and then these are the correlation values df.ilog colon minus 3 colon, and इसके बाद हम यहाँ पे क्या mention कर सकते हैं dot correlation. So if I represent this, these are the correlation values, and इसको हम heat map पे represent कर सकते हैं. So how do we represent them? SNS dot heat map, and in the heat map over here I can simply pass correlation and annotation is equal to true, plt dot show. हम यहाँ पे mention कर सकते हैं plt dot show. So guys, let's observe this heat map correlation annotation, right? This is annotation. So if you observe this, these are the correlation values. See, reading and writing score are correlated with 0.95, and reading and math score is correlated with 0.82, and writing and math score is correlated with 0.8. Maybe I can change the color map. So I'm using cool warm. Now it looks much better. Now correlation of a variable with itself is always going to be 1. So this is the correlation. All right. Next, moving forward, we can proceed with the strip plot. So strip plot is a special form of scatter plot that can be used to display distribution of numerical value by a specific category. So suppose हमें SNS dot strip plot के अंदर over here I need to represent data is equal to df, and on the x-axis I want to represent maybe race, ethnicity, and on the y-axis I want to represent reading scores, right? So एक data point यहाँ पे आपको would be represented in form of scatter chart. So using even strip plots, we can identify the potential outliers. So plt.show and plt.title. Title would be let's say race, ethnicity versus reading score, and this is going to be strip plot. So guys, if you observe this, now currently the values are getting overlapped, right? So for each of these groups, these are the potential outliers, and majority data is concentrated in this region. So इसको हम we can set its size plt dot figure size And what is supposed to be the figure size over here, I'm setting the figure size somewhere like maybe 8,7. So I'm increasing the height so that the values tend to get overlapped less. Alright, so guys, this is how we can represent the strip plot. Next, maybe इसमें भी हम grouping कर सकते हैं, but again grouping over here it would imply that, चलो first of all I'm changing the color. Grouping over here would imply that let's say it would be very difficult to distinguish the data points based on any particular group that we pass over here. So this is how we are representing the strip plot. The next chart that we have is cat plot. Now cat plot is a very versatile plot that has recently been added to the Seaborn that makes plotting easier and involves categorical variables. So with the same function, there are a lot of things that can be done. So over here I'm writing sns.catplot. Data is equal to df. Alright, now suppose for the x, if I'm passing race ethnicity. Now what are the different options that we have? See, x bhi hum pass kar sakte hain, we can pass y. If I'm passing x, now there is a parameter called kind. Now these are the different values when it comes to kind. So I'll show you different variations that we can explore. These are the different options, right? So agar hum kind pe kind ko observe kare, so we have strip, swarm, box, volen, boxen, point, bar, and count. So on the x-axis we have race ethnicity, and I'm considering the count kind as count. So this is simply equivalent to count plot now. So I can say plt.show. So guys, clearly we can see this is count of race ethnicity. Now for the same chart, with the same chart, let's say हमारे पास इतने सारे options हैं, right? Suppose I want to give box plot. So I can simply mention writing, and kind is box. So this would act as box plot. So as you can see, now this is a box plot. The same functionality behaving differently with different kind of charts. Now we can also generate strip plot. So strip plot ke liye we'll have to pass x and y. We can also generate volen plot as well. So one by one, maybe I can show you these options. So just like box, I can pass volen. Alright, so this would be same as the volen plot. Alright, as you can see, this is the volen plot that we have obtained. Next, यहाँ पे what all other options can we explore? So count plot is done. I'll show you the strip plot. So for strip plot, x-axis में I'm passing maybe parental, okay, x-axis में race ethnicity, and y-axis में I'm passing math score. Let's see, now this would be strip plot. Now this is going to be the strip plot, right? So this is race ethnicity versus the math score. So same function behaving differently with different kinds. एक last bar chart भी explore कर लेते हैं. So next for the bar chart, what can be done? So this would now behave as a bar chart provided we pass the appropriate parameters. So bar chart के लिए x axis में I'm passing maybe parental, okay, y axis में I'm passing parental level of education, and on the x axis over here I'm simply going to pass parental level of education, data है df, y axis पे parental level of education, and on the x axis over here I'm simply going to pass maybe writing. Kind is bar. So guys, we have observed the bar chart. Now what is it representing? This is simply representing mean writing score, all right, for different parental level of education. This is what we have. This is mean writing score for different parental level of education. All right, and अगर आपको let's say error bar का option है यहाँ पे, so if we do have that option, we can get rid of the error bars as well. So guys, this is how let's say we can deal with cat plot as well. So single function, it behaves differently under different kind of kinds. So we have seen strip, swarm is very much similar, box, volen, boxen is very much similar, then we have point and bar and count. So काफी सारे options इसमें से हमने explore कर रखे हैं. Next we have a very important chart which is referred to as the pair plot. So guys, what is the purpose of pair plot? Pair plot is used to represent relationships between pairs of different continuous variables. So यहाँ पे जो हमारे पास continuous variables थे, they were math, reading and writing, right? So over here, if I represent SNS dot pair plot and data is equal to df, so it will display all the three pair of combinations: math versus math score, math versus reading score, math versus writing score, then reading versus math score, reading versus reading, and reading versus writing, and then writing versus math, writing versus reading, and writing versus writing. So I can simply represent it like this. So this would be a scatter chart, right? Scatter plots, multiple scatter plots represent relationship between pair of continuous variables generating scatter plots. So guys, over here these are the different scatter plots that we observe. So on the y-axis we have math, this is math, the second one is reading, and the third one is writing. So अगर सारे combinations plot नहीं करने हैं, so maybe we can decide which ones to plot. Now on top of it, I can change the color. I can change the color. Okay, color is not available, maybe palette. Okay, so what can be done over here? I can set palette. There are custom options for palette. I can mention set one. Now this is a predefined color palette, right? Okay, again it's not utilizing the same. All right, no issues. So currently basically we are representing the pair plot. Now we can decide what variables do we need on x-axis and y-axis. So x vars on the x-axis I want the reading score and I want the writing score. On the y-axis I want the math score and the reading score. So this is x variables and y variables. What are the variables I want on x-axis and what are the variables I want on the y-axis? So guys, if you observe this, on the y-axis we have math and reading, and on the x-axis we have reading and writing. Now on top of this, I can mention the hue parameter. Hue may over here I am passing df of gender. Okay. Truth values of series is ambiguous. All right. अभी के लिए इसको हम हटाते हैं. I'll show you in a different example. This is what we have: x variables and y variables. Now, what if currently suppose I'm don't passing any variables, I'm just mentioning hue is equal to df gender. अच्छा, data हमने already pass किया हुआ है, right? We have already passed the data, so I just need to pass the gender. I don't need to pass df. I can simply do away with the df. So this is what it looks like when it is combined with hue. So guys, moving forward, then we have the topic of exporting reports as CSV/Excel images. So how can this be done? Now to implement this, suppose this is my data frame, right? This is the data frame that we have. For instance, I'm generating a report. So this is exporting maybe report as CSV. So ये हम कैसे implement करेंगे? Let's see this in action. So how do we report a CSV file? For instance, I want to display df.group by, and in the group by maybe based on let's say gender and race ethnicity. I want to display math and reading score ka maybe mean. All right, mean of math and reading score based on what? Based on gender. So if we represent it like this, this is what we have obtained, right? Now I want to store this result as maybe I want to store this result into some Excel or CSV files, right? So अगर हम यहाँ पे apply करें reset index, so this is how we have obtained it. Now let's store this in a variable. So I'm calling this maybe report 1. This is report 1, right? What is the problem statement that we are solving? Maybe save gender and race ethnicity wise mean math and reading scores. So we can save it as CSV, we can save it as Excel. Let's check this. हम इसको कैसे save कर सकते हैं? So report 1. So I'm simply calling it report 1.2CSV, and 2CSV के अंदर I'm passing report 1.CSV, and then I can mention index is equal to false. So we haven't created this report before. I can show you we don't have this report before, right? So once I create this report1.csv is now available over here. All right, it should reflect any minute. So ये यहाँ पे सेव हो चुका है. All right, see. So report1.csv, when has it been created? It has been created seconds ago. So even if I click on this, I get to see the same data. Over here, I do get to see the same data. And यहाँ पे जो values हैं, suppose I wish to round them off. So what can be done? Report one, में जो the column is math, right? Okay, this is math. Let's call this mean math score. And this would simply be या math को ही हम rename कर ले रहे हैं. This is nothing but the math score, right? So the math score would be round math 2, and likewise the same goes for reading. And dot columns, so इसके columns को हम rename करते हैं. They are gender, then we have race, ethnicity, then we have mean math score, and then we have mean reading score. All right, ये चार values हैं हमारे पास. This is what we have. So dot head. So guys, this is the data that we have. Now we can store this into rep1. So currently I'm closing this and I'll be overwriting this. So now this data has been saved. All right, when was it last updated? It was updated seconds ago. So now if I click on this, so guys, this is the data that we have. So this is how we can summarize the data and store it into CSV file. Can we do the same with Excel? Yes. So to Excel में I can pass report1.excelSX and index is equal to false. And यहाँ पे हमारे पास कुछ और भी options हैं. Let's see. So we have Excel writer. Okay, I can mention the sheet name. So maybe in the sheet name would be report1. All right. So I've saved this and this is saved over here. So clearly we can observe this report is present as an Excel file. Now of course I won't be able to open it over here. I can open it separately. So these two, let's say, reports are generated. Now I can read them as well. All right, so let's call this R1 CSV. If I want to read it, so this would be pd dot read CSV, and this is report1 dot CSV. All right, R1 CSV. This is dot. So guys, this is my report in the CSV format. Now if I want to read the report in the Excel, हम Excel में भी report को read कर सकते हैं. So this is how it would look like. This is report1 dot XLSX. Alright, ये हमने यहाँ पे save किया and the function used would be Excel. This is let's call this R2 dot Excel. Alright, so guys, this is our data. Now so far we have been able to save the report as Excel and let's say as CSV. But what about images? So if I want to store the images, first of all we have to plot a chart. So for instance, over here I'm plotting a chart like this. My chart looks like this. Suppose I want to represent count of parental level of education on a bar chart, right? So SNS dot bar plot on the my data is DF. The data that I'm having is DF. On the x-axis I'm passing parental level of education. That's it, and PLT dot show. So okay, maybe this is parental level of education versus math score, mean math score, right? So this is the math score, and then based on gender. So this is my chart. All right, now because the values are getting overlapped, so x or y को interchange कर देते हैं. This is y and this is x. So these are the values. Now I want to get rid of error bar. So error bar would be CI and 0. All right, we have discussed what CI is. CI is confidence interval. Now I want to represent the numbers. So AX would be AX dot bar containers 0, AX dot bar label, and then AX dot containers. ये हमने यहाँ पे mention किया. Then again I can mention it like this. This is AX dot bar label AX containers 1. So guys, we do get to see the numbers and इनको हम round off कर सकते हैं. All right, up to 2 decimal places. So I'll be using the round function. Okay, so let's not round them up. Maybe it's better without rounding them off. So अभी हमने इसको इस तरह से represent किया है and we can see the values, right? Now I want to save this. So besides, to save this, let's mention the figure size and the title. What would be the title? Over here I'm setting the title as this is parental level of education versus math score versus mean math score. All right, mean math score, and this is based on gender. So this is the plot title. All right, and figure size भी हम थोड़ा सा adjust कर लेते हैं. Let's set the size to 10 and figure size would be plt.figure. I'm passing the fig size, and as far as the fig size is concerned, यहाँ पे I'm setting this as maybe let's set as 12 and 5. So guys, this is how it looks like. 5 would be too small, maybe I'm extending it to 7. Alright, so guys, as we can see, these are the values. Now it's imperative to add plt.x limit. Currently it's extending beyond 70, so maybe I can pass 0 to 100, or let's assume 90. Much better. Alright, so now it's much better. We can see all the values. Let's even label plt.x label. On the x-axis we have math scores, and plt.y label on the y-axis we have parental level of education. So guys, यहाँ तक हमने represent कर दिया. Now to save this, what are we discussing? We are discussing saving, or let's say exporting charts as images / saving graphs charts. So ये हम कैसे करेंगे? Let's see. So we just need one function, and that is plt.savefigure, and a save figure में over here I can pass, let's call this visual report 1.png. That's it. So this entire figure would be saved. So please ensure that you write the save function after, let's say, applying all the functionalities. So let's see when it is saved. So guys, as we can see, this has been saved. So this is visual report 1. Let's see. Yes, we do have a visual report 1. When was it imported? It was let's say generated seconds ago. So this is 48.8 KB. So guys, as we can see, the entire chart has been imported. All right, and this was our chart. So guys, that brings us to the end of this session. Now in this session, we have let's say understood how to work around with other seaborne charts. We have also discussed how to export reports as CSV, Excel files, and as images. So guys, in the next session, we'll be working on end-to-end, let's say, data automation project with workflow that includes NumPy, pandas, and even visualization as well. Thank you.